Hey, it's me. Today, I am painting a collection of mushrooms. Several years ago in 2023, I know, so long ago, I painted a ceramic mushroom at a local painting studio with one of my friends. This is that mushroom. I painted it originally and I didn't have much hope that I would love it. But when I got the finished product, after they had actually glazed it and put it in a kiln and made the paint do its thing, because I did this specialty paint that had little dots in it that when they put in the kiln, it melts into little circles. Thought that'd be a good mushroom look. When that came out, I was stoked, to say the least. And I fell in love with it. I had it in my last dorm in college and then in my apartment in college. I even broke it when I was moving into my apartment and glued it back together. So it's been through some things, but I love it. And ever since that day, I have wanted more. But I didn't want the same style of mushroom. I didn't want to go back to that studio and buy all of these mushrooms only to have the same shape, same size, and everything. That is where Hobby Lobby came in. I found 3 small, super adorable mushrooms to paint on. I do believe they are also ceramic, and I'm just looking for a set now. They are only a little bit smaller than what I already have, which is exactly what I wanted, and I have a really good feeling that I can add them around the room. I'm trying to go for some colors that complement the original mushroom, so maybe some purples and some blues, but I don't want to go with the exact color. So I'm interested to see what my brain comes up with. Let's get to it. And I'm back. So that process took me quite a long time. And the biggest reason why it took me so long is because of just time on my hands every day. So it took me a longer time than I expected because I am a busy girl. But the end result I am absolutely satisfied with, and I cannot wait to show you what I've got. So for reference again, here's the original mushroom. We've got a nice kind of mauve magenta color. I really don't know what color this is. I'm gonna go with mauve because that sounds more accurate. It has some little splotches of color. They were little beads, and when they put them in the kiln, they melted and made little randomized circles. In these circles, the white ones, I'm assuming they're supposed to be white, but they're not. They looked more like almost a periwinkle type color or just a light lavender color. And then there's some dark blue. So what I did with that was take the color of the dots and make those the primary colors of the mushrooms. So I've got 3 little mushrooms that should, in theory, go with this one. I'm gonna go in order from my least favorite to my favorite because that's how I function on this channel. So the first one is this lavender colored one. I felt like that played into some of the spot colors and bounces off of that purple idea. And the dots include the primary colors of the other 2. So this is kind of a spoiler as to what colors I used, but I have periwinkle dots, navy blue dots, and then on all of them they have white dots. I didn't make a white mushroom, but I wanted all of them to have something very much in common. So the white dots are gonna be what ties them all together. I'm actually kind of proud of how these came out. I wish I had been able to make them look a little bit more randomized, maybe add some smaller dots, but I do think they turned out very cute. They kind of look like confetti to me, so it works. The next one is the navy blue one, and I love the contrast on this one between the dark navy and the color of the base of it. And I love how the dots came out on top. They actually showed up really well. I thought I was gonna have to end up doing 2 coats when I first painted this one and saw how dark it was gonna be, especially with Mod Podge on it. It almost looks black on camera. And I think this one turned out really clean looking, so I'm proud of how that turned out. And I think it plays into the darker color of the spots on the original, so it kind of brings out that color that you don't really see on the other one, and that's what I like about it. And finally, you probably have guessed the color by now, but the final one is the periwinkle one. I'm especially proud of this one because I mixed the periwinkle and color matched it twice. I made a big oopsie on this one in the middle of it. I tried to make the dots bigger because I thought that bigger dots was going to be cuter, and I used a sponge that was about that big around and dotted it on there, and it looked terrible. And so I had to paint over it after it had already been dried and I had used all of the periwinkle paint that I had matched, and then had to color match it. So the fact that I color matched this probably almost perfectly just makes me very happy. The dots on this one look very nice. I love how clean they turned out. I think I could add a few more dots in there. I feel like for some reason they're a little bit more sparse. I think I have a lot of navy and not a lot of the lavender, so maybe that's why it feels that way to me. But I love this periwinkle color so much, and I think that it plays into the color scheme of things in a different way. You don't see necessarily periwinkle when you look at that, but if you look really closely at the spots that I think are supposed to be white, they've got kind of a blue tint to them, and I really think that it makes this tie into it. So from first glance though, you don't think they match, right? And then you look closer at some of those dots, like right there. Looks a lot like periwinkle when you put it that way. And bonus, if you take this one out of the mix, they all work very well together. Let me be careful because I don't want to drop these. I worked really hard on them. They work as a trio. So if for some reason I broke that one again or got tired of it and wanted just to keep these, I can. And I think these will add a beautiful pop of color into my space, all separated or even together. My plan is to space them out so that they're not an obvious set, but I did want to keep the colors consistent and in a set because I'm like that in my brain. That is my mushroom collection. I think I'm complete now, but if you have any other ideas that maybe I could add on to this collection for, let me know. I definitely don't want to paint the same ones again. So if there's a different style or a different size, like smaller, a lot smaller, that I would be interested in. So if you know of anything, let me know. And with that, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you next week.